I'm like surprised that I'm even filming right now. I am so excited because I turned in my final major assignment with grad school. But let me tell y'all how hard it was to get there. So first of all, I stayed up till 5 o'clock this morning to work on the assignment. Then I woke up again at 12 something just to continue doing the assignment and literally just finish it. So this video probably is gonna go up like right before it actually is December 10th because I have had a hell of a day and a hell of a week because last week of grad school. So the fact that a video is going up is amazing. Hey y'all, it's Ashley at Bookish Realm, and I wanted to make a video today, as you can see by the title, talking about annotating books. That seems to be like a huge thing now in the booktube community. I know that I've been annotating for as long as I can remember because I was taught by an English teacher who was very big on us knowing methods and ways to annotate as we were reading more complex works in which we had to like write papers and take tests and all that stuff. So it's nothing new to me, but I had also grown up in an environment where it's like, you don't destroy your books, you don't write in your books, you don't. And I did not understand that, at least your personal books, like if they weren't for school, like you paid this money for these books, don't write in them. But I've been doing like a lot of watching of booktube videos. I actually even made my own video about annotating. I've been looking at articles and like just different things regarding annotating, and one thing that I did run across is like annotating is a way to make these books personalized, like they're your books. So let's say I'm annotating one of Sarah J Maas's books, or me and my friend both have a copy of Throne of Glass. What makes my copy more distinguished from their copy because I bought it with my money? Like, if it's not personalized, it's not signed, how does that make my copy any more different from the other person's copy? And I feel like annotating is what gives people the power to have ownership over their books and live within their books and show, like, I don't know, how impassioned they are by their books. I think like the signs of annotated books to me is like, it's a beautiful thing. Like, I have followed people, no lie, on YouTube just based on the fact that they annotate their books. I think that's how I found Chloe with books, because I saw like one of her thumbnails and it was annotated and I was like, my spirit animal. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to show you, and I've done something like this before about the process of annotating, but this is going to tie more so into my 2019 goal. So I want to talk about that a little bit, as well as show you some of my annotated books and some books that I have annotated this year. So the first one that I'm going to show you is one that I used as an example in my last annotation video, where I started the annotation process really just putting tabs on stuff that I thought was just really interesting, quotes, character moments, plot, whatever. I still didn't write my books. The only thing I did was place a tab. And usually I like to use those tabs because, I don't know if it's focusing or not, it is. So I used to like to use these tabs because these tabs actually were like pointers to whatever line of text I was specifically looking at. But honestly, if I was to pick up this book right now and read it, I couldn't tell you anything about why I mark certain aspects of this book. Like, absolutely nothing. I could tell you nothing about it. So I will be rereading this anyway this year because someone, I forget her name, goodness gracious, she's such a great booktuber. She's hosting a Brandon Sanderson and well, Cosmere and Witcher universe readathon, which starts in January. So as part of that, I'll have to reread this, and these tabs will be coming out. Okay, so I guess I should have talked about this first, but I wanted to use this as an introduction to how I annotate now, as opposed to what I was doing maybe a couple years back, where I literally was just tabbing favorite quotes and not really living and moving within the literature, as a lot of people like to say. So people always like to say like, oh, what supplies do you use? So for me, I use very simplistic supplies. Nothing Nothing amazing, nothing breathtaking. I literally use these post-it tabs that you can see here. Just the ones, I prefer the ones with like the brighter colors because they stand out more visually for me. I found some like these on Amazon. These as well. I found these on Amazon as well. So I use these tabs, and these tabs, the colors don't have a distinguished meaning just individually, meaning that I can tell you for every book this color is going to stand for this, because for me it changes from book to book. So typically the only one that stays around the same is probably the pink, and that's for loving moments. But in some cases I actually even have changed what the color pink has meant in some of the books, depending upon whether I am reading a contemporary or something that has romance in it or not. So there's nothing special to my pen. It's pretty regular, just a regular ballpoint pen. I prefer ink pens, but sometimes they're not really conducive to the material, the paper, so it all depends. If I could get away with it, I'll use an ink pen. If, for example, in one of my books that I annotated here, I was using an ink pen, it was bleeding through the pages, so I started to use just a regular ballpoint pen. Alright, so now I'm going to show you guys just a couple examples of some books that I've annotated probably within like the last 6 months. Yeah, these are 4 examples that I've annotated in the past 6 months. The first is School for Good and Evil by Suman Shinani, and this one, this is what I was talking about, how it changes. So in this, you can see I actually have the tabs that stand for the certain things that are there. So as you can see, the orange, I believe, stands for funny moments. Green is plot development. I think blue was things that happened that were weird fairy tale wise. And then purple was Sophie's resourceful moments, which is one of the characters in this book that I have a problem with all the time. Like this, because this was my second time rereading it. My second time reading it, not my second time rereading it. Just my second time reading it. So I'm trying to find a tab here for an example. So now what I do, instead of just tabbing, is I actually underline the quote that I am interested in, or the passage that I'm interested in, and then I make a note under it. So someone said something here apparently that I agreed with, and I pretty much do that for every section. There's not a section in here that I don't do that. Every section in here, like, I'm making some type of notation of what I think, which is really, really cool. So now, like, I can go back and reread this book if I wanted to, or when I go and I read the next book in the series, if there's something that I need to know about Sophie's character that I think is important, I'll know to have some reference. Like, I know that all the purple tabs in here are related to Sophie, and if I'm interested in anything that was maybe like cutesy romance-wise, it was the pink. And if I thought, you know, oh, I need to look up some twisted fairy tale aspects of this book, then I know that all of them are in blue. It's just a really efficient and nice way to go back and revisit your works. So this is one that I actually just finished not too long ago, and you can see here that the tabs are different. So orange in this one stands for problematic features of this book, and and blue stands for character development, and green is plot development. So that's why I said in each book it does change. This one, of course, has a lot of orange tabs because I thought this was an extremely problematic book. This is probably one of my favorite annotated books, so I think this is just so colorful. And this is one where I actually was using, I think I was kind of afraid to write in the book, but that was dumb because I was highlighting in the book. Oh, that's why I did that. So this is the book where the pages, I think they were bleeding through a little bit. So what I ended up doing was I would tab a section of a part of the book that I thought was important. I would highlight the passage. See if it'll focus for y'all. Okay, I would highlight the passage, and then I would use sticky notes to kind of write down what I was thinking and what I was feeling. I really like that method as well, and I have sticky notes, but sometimes I just don't have time to sit down and do the whole sticky note thing. Like, I think it just adds a touch of flair to the book itself, which is cool. The only time that it would become a problem is like if I was to sit down and reread this book, then I would be confused because, you know, I would have to lift up the sticky notes and then they possibly go everywhere, like, but it does make for a very, very pretty book. And this is my last example. This is one that I'm actually currently reading and working on, and this is Anna and the Swallow Man. And I think I used okay, so this is a good example of another change of the tabs. So in this one, instead of the pink tabs being romance, this pink tab actually stands for historical aspects of the book. Stuff about this book that I did not know prior to reading it. But I'm still following the same method with underlining and then having a tab there, making my own annotation. And then also in the beginning of the book, making sure that I have tabs. See, there we go. So I have tabs kind of saying like what each color stands for. So that's one that I'm currently working on. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because my goal for next year is to annotate all of my personal books. So if I'm reading a book that I own, I want to annotate it because I want my collection to be defined by me. And I've been doing a lot of rereading lately, and I really want to see how my thoughts and my feelings change in a lot of these books. And I feel like this is a way to make my collection more personal, more meaningful to me. And I know annotating is not for everybody, I do understand, but it's like, but I can't write in my books, like I can't do it. And do you annotate books that don't even have like, they're just cute fluffy stuff? And yeah, because I still have thoughts, even if it's cute and fluffy and not really like that deep of a thing. But I think having annotated books in your collection is kind of like you defining your bookshelves. But that's just my thoughts. If you're not comfortable writing in your bookshelf, that's okay. I understand. It takes a while to get to that point, or you just may not get there at all, and that is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I just know that in 2019 it will be my goal to annotate all of the books in my collection that I read for the upcoming year. Alright y'all, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, make sure you click the subscribe button. As always, all of the links to my social media will be down in the description box. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I definitely will be back with another video tomorrow.